Annyeong bachateras y bachateros, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing one of my top absolute most favorite places to ever go to, and that is Seoul, South Korea. For those that are curious on where to go dancing, feel free to skip to the timestamps right over here. For everyone else, I'll go over some of my favorite places that I visited, some of the delicious food I had, and things that I did while in Seoul. So real quick, transportation was easy to navigate. That includes both the buses and the subway system. Google Maps works in South Korea, although I definitely recommend planning ahead of time. Also, personally, I prefer walking if it's close enough to really absorb and observe the locals around there. Just make sure to get your transportation card once you land at the airport, and you should be good to go. I stayed at an Airbnb by a local park. Sorry if I butcher it, but it's called Gyeongui line. And I highly recommend staying there. It's a quiet little park surrounded by lots of cool restaurants and shops, and the local nightlife offers many things to do as well. Interestingly enough, the locals refer to this location as the Manhattan Park equivalent. Although it's not nearly as big, it's definitely kawaii and beautiful. At night, you'll see many people hanging around the park and at the local restaurants. But if you're lucky, you'll see someone actually walking their cat. That's one of the first places that I ever saw that, which I thought was really cool and just made the overall experience very memorable. Make sure to check out the cat cafe if you're into that stuff as well. Just make sure not to feed the ones with the bib that looks like I'll put it on screen right here for you to see. This means that if the cat has this type of bib, that the cat is too fat and they actually have to stop eating. So I didn't know this when I went, and the cat was already super cute, so we ended up feeding it. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, you'll find several restaurants around with delicious food and games. After landing, the first place that I went to was a local restaurant to try their delicious food. I happened to do some research prior to flying and found that there was a local club around called Club Bonita. And this was just on the street from where I was staying. And this was completely by chance. I never intended to stay near a venue. I always planned to simply use the public transportation system to get to wherever that was. Being able to dance just hours after landing, you're hungry, you're tired, you're jet lagged as fuck, and just being able to go out and dance is like one of the most mystifying and best feelings I've ever had. I think that finding a venue so close to where I was staying was a sign that this was going to be a great trip. So anyway, the setup at the Club Bonita was like this. They had the main room as the salsa room, and then they had a smaller room for bachata and kizomba. Before leaving, we made sure to check out the flyers that were on the board to see if there were any other parties going on. And luckily, we happened to find a bachata party that Friday night. So the next several days were spent drinking lots of coffee, stuffing my face with delicious food, and visiting a lot of the surrounding palaces in the area. Most notably, the Gyeonbokgung Palace. Sorry if I butcher that. And really just appreciating the surrounding beautiful traditional homes. And for those of you that want to go shopping, Avenue of Youth is nearby. Although I didn't do a lot of shopping except for just getting a few things for some of my friends back home, but you should definitely go. Okay guys, if there is one thing you should take out of this video, it's this next part. If you just see a random green tent in the middle of nowhere while you're walking around the city, don't skip it. So the reason I tell you guys not to skip over this tent is because it's typically housed by a powerful grandma whose wisdom transcends the limitation of the language, and it's passed on in a physical form, also known as food. And I have to tell you guys, I'm not kidding when I say this, that it was the best food I had during all of my trip. And I have to warn you guys that this place was super tiny. The green thin plastic was the only thing keeping us from freezing outside. So this was one of the best hole-in-the-wall places, and it really reinforces my thoughts that grandmas all over the world are truly powerful. And I'll bring up some more examples in my later videos. So at this point, I probably look like a fatty, but I didn't just eat delicious food all day. I also went to some of the local museums. Yes, I do know that some of you aren't into that stuff, but I personally love it. I love checking out the local museums and just seeing what the local art looks like. There's also a lot of street art all around the city for you to check out. Oh, and for those of you that don't know, they record Running Man in Seoul. Okay, so back to getting fat. Definitely make sure to check out the Gyeongbokgung market. That place is full of powerful grandmas that will make you delicious traditional food and treats. Anyway, when you're traveling, you'll find that the weather will fight you. But as long as you're prepared to face the potential downpour, you should be okay. That's just a long way of telling you that the weather was not the best, but it definitely improved throughout the week. So that brings us to the last night, which is a Friday night. That also means that it's bachata party time. It was raining that night, but it didn't really stop us from going out, knowing that it was our last night. And at the entrance, you'll see that they have a section to put the umbrellas away, which is really nice. Spent the final night dancing salsa and bachata, and found that most, if not all of the dancers are really, really good. I have to say it was quite interesting to see the girls act so shy when they're kind of just standing around, but once they start dancing, it's like, what? Where did that come from? They were really good, and they were very personable. Yeah, just great dancers, amazing dancers. Also, the host was extremely energetic too, and very friendly. Also, from my observation, the Korean guys were very open to asking a lot of the girls to dance. I know some of my previous experiences, maybe the guys wouldn't ask all of the girls, but yeah, they were not shy, which is great. And they seem like gentlemen. They were all very nice. And I also noticed that while they were dancing, they didn't really talk. They kind of just enjoyed the moment and danced, which I think is a great thing. I've heard that Korean dancers are some of the best dancers in the world, and I have to say that's definitely true. It was such a fun night, guys. Like, the Korean dancers are, they really are amazing. Just make sure to bring extra won for the entrance fee, and they also have a bar inside if you guys want to grab a drink or two. But yeah, it's like, what more could you ask for? It really was a great trip. If you made it this far into the video, I just want to give you my sincerest thanks. Thank you, bachateros y bachateras. If you know of any other locations in South Korea to go dancing, please leave them in the comments below. Tell us where to go, especially if you're watching this from South Korea. Let us know. Like and subscribe if you guys want to see more content like this. And 감사합니다. Wow, so strong.
Did you record my feet?
Just came up all these stairs. Time to invade the castle! Yeah!
What are you recording?
Don't record.
Es porque existe otra persona. Anda y dímelo ya, por favor.